lot going on today, and we're in helmets, and we don't play football in pajamas. We actually play in pads. So it'll be interesting. We got some All-Americans out there in shorts, and we'll see what happens when they turn up when the heat starts flowing.
You're one of the 13 that accept scholarships to play basketball. You have to realize that basketball is a privilege. It's not a right.
Well, we want to thank Vanderbilt for its participation in the NCAA basketball tournament for this year and congratulate the selection committee on a wise choice of the third SEC team to be in the NCAA tournament. Frank Martin and the Gamecocks in particular send you accolades for your insightfulness and your ability to break down all the stats and look at the head-to-head records of teams to make a determination on who gets in and who doesn't get in.
Well, the interesting thing is people talk about LSU and how they underachieved. To me, the shocking thing in the SEC this year, because of the coach they have in Kevin Stallings, that he never could get that band together for whatever reason. And last night, both Vanderbilt and Wichita State in the first 20 minutes played like deer in the headlights look, both teams. And then Wichita State finally decided, okay, yeah, we'll go ahead and move on and turned up the heat late and beat Vandy. But Vandy is the big enigma in my estimation of this whole basketball season.
Yeah, coming into the season, considering that he had played so many young players last year, but everybody acknowledged that they were young players with a lot of talent. And they thought this would be the year Vanderbilt came back, would tear it up in the SEC. It never came together. Yet they still got into the tournament. But, there are some people out there saying, will Kevin Stallings be retained at Vanderbilt? Will he be back at Vanderbilt?
Everybody wants to fire a coach. I mean, he's got into the tournament, and everybody – Brad Brownell answering questions about his future. I think Clemson overachieved this year. They were picked near the bottom of the ACC. Yeah. They won 10 league games. They beat 4 top 25 teams. No, they didn't make the postseason, but they have a lot of reinforcements on the way. He's developing players. I mean, they developed Jerron Blossom game, turned him into a first-team All-ACC player and an NBA draft pick potentially. Get off his back. Only 2,500 Gamecock fans show up for Frank Martin and a team that just tied the school record for wins. That's why we get no respect in basketball in this state. That's why these schools, if you fire Brad Brownell at Clemson, who are you going to hire that's going to want to take that job? That they want to run you out of town every 5 years.
Find somebody.
If Frank Martin leaves South Carolina, who are you going to hire?
Here's the problem for Brad, and that is he's been at Clemson 6 years. He took him to the NCAA tournament his first year, but that's a team he inherited. Players that he has put together, his players, he has recruited. He's not gotten them to the NCAA tournament yet. Knock it on the door.
Give me that new arena. I'm ready to go.
Well, if Blossom game comes back with the players he's adding who have transferred, I think they've got a chance to be a very good team next year. We got a lot of that to talk about coming up in a moment. All right, welcome in Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network from downtown Columbia after another beautiful day here in the beautiful Palmetto State. What a great day it was. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you're stuck in traffic somewhere, I'm glad you're stuck with us because we'll make the ride home a little bit easier for you. If you want to join us, 800-956-7266. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com. On Twitter at SportsTalkSC. However, KMAC has gone rogue on us and created his own
I'm still tweeting
Twitter page.
Still mixing it up on both, but just
I like the name you've got. What is it? KMAC Must Die?
at KMAC Must Die.
Yeah.
A lot of people really believe that's a parody account.
No, it's real.
It is a parody account in many ways, but not intentionally a
Right.
parody account. But yes,
And I see you're following us. That's good. It's
I am.
another follower
I
for
am,
us.
exactly.
So-
Yeah, it's like not as fun tweeting when you only have 200 followers as opposed to
It's growing.
13,000.
It's growing.
Yeah. Well, it's
You
just
know, word is just now
it'll help
getting out.
mix it up, and there's a lot of times where we're both covering a game at the same time, and
Mhm.
so but people still aren't going to know who's tweeting.
Right. Well, on our Twitter, sportstalksc.com, occasionally you'll see me get into it with
Lately,
people.
you've been mixing it up quite a bit.
Well, I got ticked off at the SEC tournament, and what was that
you were
about?
just firing salvos.
Yeah. I called somebody a name. Oh, because I used a different spelling of
You
a name.
called
People-
somebody a name, and
Yeah.
not only that, you misspelled that.
Well, no,
name.
no,
So
I
it all
used-
came back on you. And then I get a text. I'm like bleary-eyed. I've been driving back from DC and Raleigh, and Corn's like, "Hey, I'm in a Twitter fight. Take over whatever you want." Like it was some kind of WWE tag thing.
Well, they were coming
He
at
was
me from
getting
every
pinned.
angle, and I used the Urban Dictionary spelling of a word, and it's perfectly
Yeah.
acceptable in today's language. Plus, it rhymed with a basketball term, swoosh.
Yeah.
So I used the term. I spelled it in the way that it was similar to swoosh because I was at a basketball event.
Oh.
Anyway, not important. Just thought
and that led
uh,
to people calling for my firing, by the way. They
Yes.
just assumed it was me.
That's what I'm saying. I usually just tweet the facts,
Yeah.
man. Just the facts. 800-956-7266. A lot coming up. Coverage of USC's win last night. Also, Brad Brownell, who, as K-Mac touched on, really turned introspective today in his wrap-up meeting with the media in the upstate, talking about his future, talking about his accomplishments. And, you know, he's a coach beating his own drum about what they've accomplished at Clemson, despite only one NCAA tournament appearance. He likes to talk about the players they've developed and the circumstances they've had to deal with, et cetera, and what he thinks is a bright future for his basketball program with the players that they are bringing in, the change in strategy in recruiting, realizing that it's hard for them to go head-to-head with the top teams in the ACC for the top talent. So if there's some top talent transferring, getting them on the rebound and giving them a new home and a fresh start, not such a bad idea. And they'll have 3 of those types waiting for them when they get to December of next year. 2 will start right away, and then a 3rd will be eligible in December.
Well, you know, the difficult thing about college basketball and any sport, but especially college basketball, because the games come at you left and right. If it's any mistake Brad Brownell's team did this year, is they whetted too many people's appetites. When they went on that roll and knocked off top-ranked team after high-ranked team, that got everybody's juices flowing. And then suddenly, when they start to stumble, then they turn their ire and got the pitchforks and the torches and want some retribution. But the way they played, and let's face it, I'll say it, they were a barnstorming team this year. They were a team without a home. They were a team playing off campus, and I thought they did a yeoman's job this year.
They
For a
actually
team with no
won.
home.
Tim Beret had this little note. They actually won more ACC games this year than they did non-ACC games this year. Now, when that happens at Clemson, you figure it's going to be a great year. And you could also say that they should have been in the NIT at the very least. They should have been invited to the NIT. But I guess with some of the teams that won championships in one-team leagues that are going to the NCAA tournament, they didn't make it, so they get the automatic bid in the NIT, and the NIT just filled up and ran out of spots for a team like Clemson.
Well, and then again, I will tell Clemson again, one of your sins, and maybe you may have to stop, and I'm being a little bit sarcastic when I say this, you played the pariah of all conferences, and you were doomed because you lost all 3 games. The SEC, if you look at it with scheduling, is persona non grata to every other team. If you look at the bracketing, look who's picked for the tournament. And Clemson's sin early on was losing to 3 SEC teams.
Good point.
And I think some people looked at that. Oh, well,
And all 3 of those teams, none made the NCAA tournament.
Exactly.
And one got bounced from the NIT last night. And of course, South Carolina won, and Georgia plays tonight, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're playing tonight.
Georgia Tech plays tonight too. Georgia Tech, Houston.
And that winner will come to Columbia on Monday.
Either at 7 or 9 o'clock.
7 or 9 o'clock. All right. Let's see. We're going to get to Brownell. We're going to get to Frank Martin. We're going to get to some Gamecock players that we talked to after the game last night as well. And also tonight, bottom of the second hour, 7:30, we dive into the great outdoors, another segment of SC Wild with Captain Billy Downer tonight here on Sports Talk. Baseball, Clemson and the Citadel already underway in Charleston. Tigers have taken a 1-0 lead, and they are playing in the bottom of the first inning. And we'll tell you how they scored here in just a moment as soon as I can figure out where to go in the this game tracker they have down at the Citadel. Let's see. How did the Tigers score? It's too confusing. Very confusing.
Just give the score.
Well, it's 1-0. I said that. Here we go. A Jolly walked. Apparently, it was a bases-loaded walk.
Oh, jeez.
Jolly walked, bases loaded, walked on a 3-0 pitch. So there you go. South Carolina and Davidson tonight over at Founders Park. Who's starting tonight for USC? Did you catch that?
I saw it earlier. A guy that's making his first career start. I'll have to go back and look again.
Narrow
There's
it
a guy
down.
making his first career start. He's 1-0 with an ERA under 1, and you could give me a month and that
So you know everything about him except
yeah,
his
I know
name.
his ERA, his record, and that it's his first start. But names are just unimportant.
Well,
at this
how
point.
about I look it up?
I
for
only
us
have
real
so
quick.
much room in
The
my
starting pitcher for the
memory bank.
Gamecock will be Collie Bowers, junior right-hander, 1-0, 1.69 ERA.
1.69.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was an 0.6.
No, 1.69.
there
Evan
you go.
Roberts, left-hander, will start for Davidson tonight. Let's jump to the phones, 800-956-7266. Up to Spartanburg. First up tonight, Jerry, welcome in to Sports Talk. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Phil?
Not much. How you doing?
Enjoying this nice South Carolina weather.
Fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. I was going to ask you kind of a recruiting question, and then I had another little small question. But you were saying something the other week about Clemson got a good running back from, I think he said Georgia?
Memphis.
Memphis. Okay, yeah, Memphis. Is he in this class or next year's class?
Next year, 2017. He'll be a high school senior this
Oh.
coming year. Yeah.
Okay, because I was wondering, I mean, you know, you got Gallman, and then you got Cajun Feaster. I mean, what are you going to do with all of them?
They'll find a place. You know, I got a feeling that Feaster could end up playing
Slot.
sort of like a Ray McLeod slot receiver because he's an outstanding receiver too. Cordarian Richardson is the guy you're talking about coming out of Memphis, and he is a highly recruited, highly regarded running back along the lines of some of the guys they've gotten in recent years. So you put them out there, you let them compete, and you get your top 2 guys ready to go.
Yeah. And what about Furman last night? Was that cool or was that cool?
Winning at the buzzer?
Yeah, at the buzzer, and then in the
walk-off.
baseball game, too.
Yeah. Couple of heroic wins there
That was really cool.
for the Purple Pride. Thank you very much. Appreciate the phone call. Yeah, Furman got a putback off a rebound, kind of a rebound shot at the buzzer, I think.
Almost 2 offensive rebounds.
And the baseball team also won on their final at bat.
Yeah, that's what he was
Double
just saying.
way, yeah. And they made Sports Center. Scott Van Pelt led with them last night.
Oh, big time.
F you all the time.
All right, back we are. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network from downtown Columbia. 800-956-7266 is our number. And we're brought to you by South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan. Future Scholar, the smart way to save for a loved one's education. And tax time is a perfect time to invest. Visit futurescholar.com. Future Scholar is administered by the Office of State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Now, coming up, we're going to hear from Brad Brownell. Of course, the news today that Jerron Blossomgame is going to test the NBA waters, but not get an agent to leave the door open to drop out of the draft. The last day to do that is May 25th. He is going to see what kind of reports he gets from the NBA, what his draft stock is, and then he'll make a decision in consultation with his family about either going for the money or coming back to school for his senior year. Brad Brownell will talk more about that, talk more about the season, and also talk about what's ahead. We get to that a little bit after 7 o'clock.
Yeah. I mean, if you're Clemson, you're hoping for the best for him, but at the same time, that's when you're in that in-between spot.
Mm-hmm.
You want him to come back, and he's not even showing up on any of the first 2-round draft projections right now. So he's going to have to perform well.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's had a better season than KJ McDaniels did when he came out. Personally, McDaniels was a high flyer. He had the highlight plays.
Right.
But Blossomgame was consistent. You knew you were going to get 18 to 30 points from that guy on any given night. He was very, very consistent, shot the ball much better than McDaniels ever did. Just a big season for him. Too good of a season for the Tigers.
All right, now it's the moment of the opening week of the NCAA tournament that, well, the entire country waits for, and that is my bracket. Not going to give you the whole thing. Why go through all of that? But I will give you my Elite Eight, my Final Four, and my ultimate pick. And you guys can do the same if you'd like. By the way, K-Mac,
I haven't filled mine out yet.
Plug our basketball tournament bracket.
Yeah, you
challenge.
have to be on. If you are on ESPN already and in a group, throw your bracket in our group. It's open to you. Just search Palmetto State Sports Talk. And we're there. We just tweeted out a link to it. If you're looking for it there, you can go to our Facebook page, Sports Talk on Facebook, and find a link to it there as well. So,
and our bracket winner gets absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Just the pride. We play for pride.
I mean,
we're an amateur.
Exactly.
We believe in amateurism here.
We're just like the players.
We do it for the love of the game. We play for pride.
Okay.
Here on Sports Talk. All right. So here you go. My Elite Eight coming out of the South. I've got Kansas and Miami. I've got Oregon and Oklahoma. Out of the West, coming out of the Midwest, I've got Virginia and Michigan State. And out of the East, I've got North Carolina and West Virginia. My Final Four, I've got Kansas on one side, North Carolina on the other side, Oklahoma on one side, and Michigan State on the other side. 2 1s versus 2 2s. Then I've got Kansas and North Carolina. And it pains me to do it, but I'm picking the Tar Heels, 85-82.
Or you giving us a score?
Well, they want to score.
Oh,
Tiebreaker, 85-82 Tar Heels. What do you think? We'll be back. right, we're back. Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network. Let me tell you that down in Charleston at the Citadel, Clemson still leads the Bulldogs 1-0, and they're in the top of the second. Last night in Columbia, the Gamecocks opened up NIT play. Strong win over High Points, and the Gamecocks got off to a big start, weathered a bit of a run by the Panthers, and then put them away in the second half to advance to round 2 of the NIT. The Gamecocks got a great game from Lemonis Akafishus. He was Bill Waltonish, 15 of 16 from the floor, 30 points, 5 rebounds. Sindarius Thornwell had 20 points. Michael Carrera, in his return, he had a double-double, 12 and 11. You know, it was the kind of stuff they needed on Friday night, but different opponent, different setting, and all of that. Announced crowd of 2,566. The Gamecocks scored 58 of their 88 points in the paint. They had a decided height advantage over High Point. And, of course, they were playing without 5 players who are suspended. So, with all that, Frank Martin talked to the media afterwards about getting the 25th win of the season for the Gamecocks.
And that's all I spoke about to the players after the game. Whatever happened between today and when we lost to Georgia, it's over. There shouldn't be any more negativity. I think I don't want to misspeak, but I think we're trying to play a game on Monday. I think that's what we're trying to do. We're going to be one of about 50 teams that are still playing on Monday. You know, you got to be excited that there's only 50 people that are still playing on Monday. So, you know, hopefully we got to be a lot better defensively than we were today, but that's okay. That's all right.
Coach, in regards to the 5 suspended players, when did you first learn about the conduct issue, and obviously how difficult of a decision was it for you to have to suspend them indefinitely?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into any details. That's why we have releases, because there's certain things that we don't speak about. And if anyone in here is a parent, I think you would understand that no one needs to be speaking about other people's children publicly. Now, with all that, I will say this. Every single person in our locker room, when they get admitted to the University of South Carolina, not everybody gets admitted here. They have to understand that this is a special place, and there's certain things that we have to accept when we decide to play, coach, work, employ, whatever here. And if you're one of the 13 that accept scholarships to play basketball, you have to realize that basketball's a privilege. It's not a right. No one has the right to play basketball. It's a privilege. And this is an educational process, and it's all about teaching and educating, and that's what our jobs are.
Your fan base was obviously disappointed not to get into the NCAA tournament, but how nice is it to give them another home game, another chance to cheer this team on, even if it's in maybe the tournament they didn't want to be in?
You know, I can't speak for – no one's name's Nancy in here, is it? Can't speak for the negative Nancys. You know, the people that want to keep complaining and crying. I can't worry about them. I never have, never will. But the ones that have really invested into our team, that basically helped us set a school record for attendance, it's fun to get in front of them again. It's fun for them to root and cheer. It's fun to walk out of the tunnel and hear your people standing up and clapping because their team is on the court. So, you know, if we're not going to be in the NCAA tournament, why not play at home? You know, when you got such great fans that just care so much about this school.
Obviously, there's still more ahead, but as you're trying to build this thing up, how special is it to match a program record for wins?
Yeah, I told the players that in the timeout in the second half, once we decided to re-engage and do things the right way, I think it was a 25-point game at the time. And that's what I told the players. I said, man, I understand that some of you guys are a little kind of down. I get it. You get a chance to play. You get a chance to go in the record books in this university. Win today, and you've matched the most wins in school history. They've been playing ball here for a long, long time with some incredible players. And you get to put your name on the record book for the most wins or tie in school history. You already set the record for regular season. Now you get ready to do this. Forget about all the nonsense. Be excited about that, man. And now we get a chance whenever that game is played. It's going to be hard. Anytime you play this time of year, there's not an easy team. Every team has the fabric of a winner. That's why you're in postseason play. But we get a chance to set the school record for most wins in the season. That's when the season's over 20 years from now, that's pretty special, man. That's something that those kids can talk to their families about forever and ever and ever.
Frank, with the five.
Is this side of the room not interested? I mean, holy cow. My neck's getting a crook. I'm looking over here the whole time.
Frank, with the five, would you anticipate them being part of this team maybe next game or next year?
I have no idea, Dave. No idea.
Coach, with the way you guys did execute in the second half, how does that bode for your team moving forward, especially from a confidence standpoint with the way they were able to execute offensively? Seemed pretty crisp in that 12-0 run stretch.
We passed the ball. We got it to the right places. Our spacing was good. It was good to see Cenarius make some jump shots. Dwayne, we got to get Dwayne on track. We got to get him. He's too good a shooter and too important for us from that standpoint. So we got to use the next whatever number of days it is to just get him feeling good about that ball going through the net. And then now we know why in that Georgia game here he couldn't make a shot. I think we all understand. It's hard to shoot the ball in one leg. We didn't know it at the time. But first time he practices was yesterday. We had him do some sprinting and all that, but that's not actually getting out there and guarding and moving. And yesterday's the first time he practiced. So I didn't expect him to shoot it well today. He's got to use these days to kind of feel good about himself and see the ball go through the net again.
Yeah, good point. I mean, the fact that Carrera told me after the game, and you'll hear it in our interview with him coming up, he could not have played Friday night. Now, even though he was able to go out and play well last night and had a little more bounce in his system, he said he was not able to go on Friday night against Georgia. And so they made the right decision in holding him out. So how far will the Gamecocks go in the NIT? That's our poll question on our website, sportstalksc.com. Will they win the championship? Will they make the semifinals? Will they get to the third round? Well, they've made it to the second round. So 36% of the voters say they'll get to the championship. I didn't really make this clear. I didn't say win the championship. I said get to the championship. But anyway, 36, almost 37% are saying they'll get to the finals in New York. 22% are saying they'll make the semifinals. So really 59% of the voters are saying they'll get to New York City for the Final Four at least. 15% say third round. 25% say they would make the second round, which they have done. And they'll get the winner of tonight's game, Georgia Tech in Houston. And well, I tell you what, the Georgia Tech, the way they finished up, in the regular season in the ACC, and they beat Clemson in the ACC tournament. They've got some good players. That would be an excellent matchup in Columbia. That should generate a little bit of juice now. You know what? I'm not going to pound on the Gamecock fans for not showing up last night. I mean, it's tough, first of all, to go inside at 7 o'clock on a beautiful night like you had last night, and the opponent, High Point, even if they had John Brown available as a kind of attraction for the pure basketball fan who would know who John Brown is, it's still High Point. That's not going to attract anybody.
And they were still ticked.
Well, yeah, and of course, students had to pay $4 and things of that nature. Georgia Tech, next Monday night, especially if it's a 9:30 tip, 9 o'clock tip, that might attract a crowd of close to 10,000 or so, maybe. I could see that happening. And Bobby Crimmins there as a special guest and I suggested last night that Bobby should be there, and everybody should wear flip-flops. Of course, I was told
Bobby
nobody
was wearing
would know.
his Georgia Tech colors at the ACC
and
tournament.
also,
I was told the kids at USC wouldn't understand what that meant. Flip-flops.
Also, from business
They weren't
standpoint,
there.
this could be the prelude to a contract with Georgia Tech to play them next year.
Yeah, that would make some sense if you can get it together. All right, we'll be back more from the USC locker room coming up. Hey, we're back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, presented by the National Wild Turkey Federation. You can help make the world a better place through conservation of North America's greatest game bird and the preservation of our hunting heritage by joining NWTF. Find out how at nwtf.org/riseandfly. Now, this is not to be confused with the wild turkey of the liquid variety that I'm sure many of you out there subscribe to.
Yummy.
This is the National Wild Turkey Federation, the bird that people love to shoot here in South Carolina.
They're yummy too.
Yes, they are indeed. All right. You know what? We have a special treat for you with two more first four games tonight and the main draw beginning tomorrow. Why not bring on Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports to give you some insight as to some of the betting trends out there for the NCAA basketball tournament, some of the prop bets, things of that nature that people are talking about. Lee, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing great, and fun, couple weeks here. I love the Super Bowl, but there is nothing like the first 2 weeks of the tournament. I mean, 16 games the first 2 days. I mean, I think what really makes March Madness so great for people is in college football and the NFL, we know who the great teams are. There's that underdog, and teams are rooting, and people are rooting for the Stephen F. Austins, the Chattanoogas, the Stony Brooks, the UNC Wilmingtons. If one of those teams makes a run to the Sweet 16, that makes their season, and they'll see enrollment. They'll go from maybe getting 5,000 applicants to getting 25,000. Has that big, a jump to these universities. So I just think it's that sleeper, and these teams that no one knows about. And I think that's what makes March Madness.
Absolutely, and I guess it drives some folks crazy when it comes to their brackets, and they've got some things riding on the games, and you lose a game at the Horn on a 60-foot shot or miss free. It drives people nuts. So what are some of the things from your seat that you look at here going into the NCAA tournament?
Well, I look at, number one, coaching. And, I'm looking for a coach like Coach K. He's a guy that there's going to be a lot of games in this tournament this year where a lot of the lines are between -4 to +4. So if you got a good coach and he can diagram a play and get a basket and key moment, that makes a difference. And, there's some coaches out there, just look at Duke as a 4 seed and you look at Cal as a 4 seed. They might have one of the worst coaches, in my opinion, in the country. You got a guy like Martin, and he's certainly got his problems. And then on top of that, he's missing his top assistant because of that scandal going on. So that, and then I look at backcourts. A point guard is almost like a quarterback. He's going to handle the ball almost every play. So he's so important. You want either great leadership or great talent at the point guard position.
All right. So as the tournament really begins in full tomorrow, have you got some picks? Do you do? What kind of picks do you have on your sheet right now going in?
Well, the first 2 days there's some games I'm looking at Yale, nice underdog, getting 5.5, 6 points. They're basically playing a home game against Baylor. Everyone loves the Big 12, but I think they're going to have some problems. How about Butler, number 9? Vegas usually gets it right. They are a 4-point favorite against the number 8 seed Texas Tech. I mean, obviously there are the teams like South Carolina that were slighted, in my opinion, Monmouth, St. Bonaventures, but how did Texas Tech get a number 8 seed? I thought they were barely in the tournament. Their only 2 decent wins were against Texas and Baylor. They lost to TCU. That should almost automatically disqualify you from getting into the tournament. So those are 2 I like on Thursday, and then there's a trio on Friday. I'm going to play against Iowa. This is a team playing just awful basketball, getting no guard play. Thing you need, and once you get to the dance, you need 3 guys that are going to get in double digits. I don't think Iowa has it. I'll take Temple plus 7.5. I like Oregon State. No one knows about them. They play late games, getting 5 against Virginia Commonwealth. And like I said, I talked about the California team, horrible coaching. They might have 2 top 12 draft choices, they could lose outright to a team in Hawaii that is just come out of nowhere.
Yeah. All right. So this and more can be found where? ParamountSports.com?
Yeah, ParamountSports.com. Normally it's $447. We have a phone-in special, $247. You'll get the entire tournament. I'm so sure I'm going to have a 21st winning year out of 24 years. If I don't win in the tournament for you, you'll get everything through the NBA Finals on me. So $247. Just call 800-400-9741.
All right, thanks again to Lee Sterling. Check out Lee's info at ParamountSports.com. And if you're interested, take his advice and go to town with it. Clemson leading the Citadel 2-1. They're in the third inning down in Charleston. USC and Davidson coming up shortly. And recruiting coming up now. USC, the leader for quarterback Jelani Woods, Ellenwood, Georgia, after his visit yesterday and his meeting with the coaches and viewing of the first spring practice. This is a big quarterback, 6'6", about 240. He passed for 2,400 yards and 28 touchdowns last year in a spread offense. And he said that Roper told him, met with him and talked about his size and says he knows he's got a good arm. And Roper told him from watching the film, they know he'll be able to lead the offense. He can bring a lot of tangibles to the program. And he said Muschamp was basically saying the same thing. Woods also has offers from Michigan, Louisville, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Colorado State, several others. They told him, USC did, that they want him bad and they love to have him, he said. USC's been his only visit thus far. He plans to return for the spring game. He's also going to Oklahoma State for the spring game. The visit to Columbia, he said, puts the Gamecocks at the top of his list ahead of Oklahoma State at this point. He'd like to make a decision soon because he wants to make visits this summer to the school he chooses so that he can start to learn the playbook. And he plans to graduate early. Another USC quarterback target, Jake Bentley from Opelika, Alabama, he said last night that the commitment to Stanford by David Mills out of Norcross, Georgia, another highly rated quarterback, he said that that does give him a lot to think about now regarding Stanford. Georgia, Miami, Alabama also have been top schools with Bentley, along with USC. And Bentley said he'll be at USC to watch spring practice next Tuesday and next Thursday. Offensive lineman Eric Douglas of Charlotte, a Clemson and USC target, offered on Tuesday by Virginia Tech. And let's see here. This little basketball note, but apparently this basketball note has evaporated. Well, you know, you follow the recruits on Twitter, and they put out offers and things of that nature. So last night, 6'2", this is basketball, 6'2" Darwin Morales of Claremont, Florida, on his Twitter page indicated that he had gotten an offer from South Carolina. He's a 2016 guy. But that tweet has been removed from his Twitter page now.
He's not like the guy from California to set up a press conference.
I don't think he's gone that far
Okay.
yet.
All
But so that's why I said apparently had been offered. It was just kind of a strange looking tweet without all the edits that go along when a kid gets a real offer from a school. That's why I worded it apparently. So now apparently with that tweet gone, it appears that there was no offer at all at this particular time. There you go with recruiting. We're back, top of the hour break.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Georgia out to the early lead on Belmont in Athens in their NIT game. And Clemson continues to lead the Citadel 2-1. They're in the bottom of the third in Charleston. Now, last night, USC took care of its NIT opener with a solid win over Belmont at the Colonial Life Arena. And Sindarius Thornwell had a nice game for the Gamecocks, 8 of 13 from the floor, 4 3-pointers. He finished with 20 points, 7 assists, 2 blocks, and 2 steals in 32 minutes. We had a chance to catch up with him after the game. What do you think of the way you guys attacked this game, considering what had gone on Sunday?
I think we attacked it pretty well. We can't control what happened Sunday, so we're attacking this tournament, with the mindset to win it. And I think today was an example of how we want to play throughout the whole tournament.
When did you get your mind right for playing?
After the selection Sunday, when I tweeted the MLB tweet, so that's when I was ready. I was motivated after that.
Tonight, you guys attacked them inside, obviously, 58 points in the paint. Cavs just had a huge night, so attacking them inside the plan going in, and you guys carried that out.
The plan was just to do whatever coach asked us to do. But when we went out there and we seen that every guy was my height and we got a 7-footer, why not just throw it in there and throw it up to the big guys and let the big guys finish at the rim, make it easier for us. So that's what we did, and it worked.
Besides that, though, the execution of things, were you pleased overall with how you guys executed?
Yeah, I feel like we ran things well. We went in a slump where we didn't guard well when they cut the lead to single digits. Other than that, I feel like we did everything for the most part. When we get guys that's been making shots for us all year back making shots, we'll be pretty good.
Yeah. What about your game? 20 points, shot the ball pretty well.
I think I'm doing all right. Doing pretty good, just trying to help my team any way I can.
Yeah. Your thoughts on the guys who got suspended coming at this time, going into postseason play? How do you feel when guys do something that causes themselves to be removed from the team?
That's not what I'm focused on right now. It happened, it's over with. I got no control of that, and whatever happens, that's what coaching the school. We focus on NIT and trying to win things here.
Can you guys survive with a short bench if you have to move forward like that?
I think so. Last year we played that way. Even this year, even though we lost a lot of guys, I feel like we still have our key guys. Everybody that's played 30+ minutes, all of us that's still here played 30+ minutes throughout the season. So, I think that with that being said, we'll be all right.
Okay, there you go, Sindarius Thornwell, who, you can certainly see the difference in a healthy Sindarius Thornwell this year compared to last year. He's had a really good season, and he'll be back next year for South Carolina. You look at the team next year, they do lose those 3 dependable seniors who are kind of the building blocks of what Martin has done in his first 4 years. But, of course, you're going to have to wait and see what happens to these suspended players, too. How many of these guys are going to be back next year? That could be a big question. All right, today at Clemson, Tiger basketball coach Brad Brownell met with the media to do the wrap-up interview on the season. It's long. We've got both pieces of video on our website, sportstalksc.com, but we bring some of the best of it right now to you here on Sports Talk. So here's Brad Brownell addressing the media. He begins with a statement talking about the season. Then he goes to some questions.
You know, obviously we're all disappointed with the way that the season ended, kind of abruptly, but I thought our guys played a lot better than most people probably think down the stretch. You know, we put ourselves in an opportunity to actually play for an NCAA tournament bid, and it didn't go through. I think that I was really pleased with the way our guys handled the year, and our staff and administrators really handled some of the challenges that we faced with playing in Greenville in the right way. I think our guys approached it very well, and I thought that was a good experience out of a difficult situation. You know, I think you know, we've kind of just been stuck in the middle here the last couple years. I think we've been 6th, 7th, 8th the last 3 years in the ACC. Looked it up, and we're 28 and 26 in ACC regular season games and 29 and 29 overall, which in the grand scheme of things is pretty good. But we need to take the next step. We need to get over the hump, and we need to try to get into the NCAA tournament. We all understand that. We recognize it. It's what we're fighting to do every day. But like to sound like that we're not in a good place or that we're not doing some good things, certainly I would dispute all that. And to think that like there's not positive momentum in our program, dispute all of those kinds of things that some people would say. Really proud of several of our players. Certainly Jerron had an unbelievable year. To make a jump to where you become first team all ACC is a remarkable one. I think we as a staff and people within our program all knew that Jerron was going to have a good year and make, a big step forward. I don't know if any of us anticipated that it was going to be like KJ's step, where guys go from, not really on anybody's preseason all ACC ballot to becoming a first teamer. And so really happy that a guy like that is rewarded for all of his hard work and his accomplishment. And certainly we're going to do everything we can to support him during his process now. Proud of Landry for being recognized as an all ACC defensive player. And that's a heck of a recognition. And obviously with what he's done defensively in his career here, with being top 5 in Clemson in blocks and having a major impact on our team defensively. We basically, looking at the numbers, I think we drastically improved offensively. That's very evident. Every offensive stat is better. As a team and staff, we knew that would be the case. I think we finished the year 6th in the league offensively, and we were 6th defensively, which 6th defensively is actually down for us. I did feel like, some of our defensive breakdowns and some of our size limitations on the perimeter challenged us a little bit and probably cost us some games, whether it was rebounding or our 3-point defense wasn't very good this year. And, in one possession games, which we were in, especially on the road, which is what you kind of tend to find yourself in a lot of one possession games. We weren't able to close the deal on a bunch of road games in those situations. And obviously that's ultimately what cost us our season. I've got to do a better job as a coach of figuring out how we can start seasons better. I don't know right now exactly what that is. We certainly plan on trying to be ready every November to play our best basketball, or at least play good basketball, I should say, rather than our best. But for whatever reason, we haven't been able to play as well in those months, and it's taken us some time to figure some things out. This year's team was no different in terms of managing the Jordan and Avery thing a little bit, and really Jerron developing into the kind of player that he did. Took some time, but obviously going into next year, I'm very optimistic about our team. Feel really good about the players we have coming back. Like the guys we have sitting out, we certainly made some decisions as a staff about 1.5 years ago that we were going to go in this direction, and we think it's going to prove very fruitful for us moving forward.
Do you feel like, or can you look at it like next season is postseason or bust from a job retention standpoint, or is that not a way to look at it?
Yeah, I don't feel that. I've got several years on my contract. I haven't had anybody talk to me in that manner. I think, again, to me, a little bit of that, and I understand it. We need to make the tournament. We want to make the tournament. It's what we're trying to do, believe me. But I also think that that's a little bit of just, I don't know, outside anxiousness that, would lead to nothing productive for me. That's not going to help me in the way I think about things and the way we do things. And, we're going to continue to do the things we're doing. Again, am I disappointed in what we've been able to do the last couple of years? I certainly am, but I think we're right there. If you look at it, obviously, folks, I was given an extension some years ago because things maybe weren't as good on the inside as everybody thought. And there's always people on the outside don't know all the things that have gone on. I've had 2 bosses give me extensions because of the things that we're doing, not only on the outside, but on the inside of the program to make this place better. One of them is the building across the street. I'd like to think that I've had a big part in helping to make that a reality in many, many ways. So I think there are some things that have gone on where the program, and I said this many years ago, I said this, that we're doing a lot more things that people don't realize that don't result in wins and losses that are making this program better. And this program is 100% better than it was, 3 or 4 years ago. And, obviously we know, and, the job is to get to the tournament and win games and compete at the highest level. We've been pretty close. Like we were 6th with KJ's year in this league and right on the doorstep. Obviously went to the Final Four of the NIT. He decided to go pro, and that was challenging. I mean, we weren't in a position where we could withstand that. And so we took a dip the next year, and I think we finished 8th or 7th. I mean, if that's a dip in Clemson basketball, then guys, like it's not the worst thing in the world. You know what I mean? And if we didn't take a big enough step this year, then we didn't take a big enough step. But the playing field wasn't 100% even. We had some challenges this year, and none of us have made excuses for that. We just come to work and do our job. And, this team beat 4 top 25 teams. We accomplished a lot. We won 10 ACC games, again, for maybe only the 2nd time in school history. I don't even know all the stats. I'm not as good with that as, some other folks. But I don't feel like we need to, apologize for what we're doing. We need to do better. I'm not saying that we're satisfied but we've responded and we've handled a little bit of adversity throughout the course of my career. And we've, battled back even from the loss of KJ to get us right back on the doorstep again. I don't think many people thought that we would have a chance to make the tournament this year. If you just polled them at the beginning of the season, who thought we were going to be an NCAA tournament team, media, fans, I don't think anybody would have said much. Now, because we played well in January, got ourselves to the doorstep, and then we weren't able to finish the deal. And that's something that, believe me, I have to live with, and our players have to live with, and we're not happy about. And hopefully that fuels our motivation for next season. It sure has fueled mine. But to think that we're not doing as well as, I think we're doing better in way more areas than people realize, from the outside when it just wins and losses. Now, at the end of the day, is it about wins and losses? It's about wins and losses. I get it. I'm with that. I understand it. But our program's in a good place right now. We have good kids. We do things the right way. We're really competitive. There's a lot of teams in this league, that would like to do as well as we've done the last 3 years. And there are some teams that do better for 1 year, and then the next year you turn around and look, and they're 13th or 12th. I mean, we've stayed 6th, 7th, and 8th the last 3 years, and I understand we're trying to get 1st and 2nd. But we've stayed right in that ballpark. We've been consistent ACC team. We're a 29-29 ACC team over the last, 3 ACC seasons. I don't know where that stacks up. I didn't go analyze all that, but at the end of the day, we need to do the next thing, and that's get to the tournament.
Okay, that is some of Brad Brownell from today. All of it on our website, sportstalksc.com. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Sports Talk presented by the National Wild Turkey Federation. You can help make the world a better place through conservation of North America's greatest game bird and the preservation of our hunting heritage by joining the NWTF. Find out how at nwtf.org/riseandfly. All right, one more piece of audio from USC postgame. Michael Carrera, Gamecock standout forward, back in action after missing 2 games. Had a nice game, a double-double last night in the win. Had a chance to talk to him in the plush and beautiful Gamecock locker room. They let us in the locker room last night. Pretty awesome back there. Anyway, had a chance to catch up with him at his locker and talk with him about the game.
How did it feel for you to be back on the court and healthy and contributing?
Yeah, it feels great, especially back in the the home court. Just trying to do the little things to just get back. It's gonna take me some time to just get back in shape and back in where I was, and the beginning of the season and for the season. But I feel great. I feel really good. It feels good today.
Had to like the way the team came out tonight, focused, got off to a quick start, built a big lead early, and except for a little bit of run they had, pretty much controlled this game.
Yeah, well, we having up and downs, in our seasons, but I think we handled it really well in the second half. We didn't worry about the score. We just keep playing hard, like we always been playing from for the first day, and I think we did a pretty good job.
Did the hip bother you at all tonight?
No, at all. No, at all. It just my legs were like really weak today because I haven't run or do anything in a long time. So, yeah.
How close were you to being able to play on Friday?
On Friday?
Against Georgia.
Against Georgia. Oh, okay. It wasn't even at all. I knew that I wasn't gonna play because it was back then it was I was in my rehab, but now I'm back. Things happens, and now that's when we're gonna try to win this NIT.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, now that you guys had the first win behind you, can you get excited about being in the NIT and possibly winning this championship?
Yeah, definitely. We always been excited. We were a little upset because we didn't get into the NCAA tournament, but life keeps going, and we just got to keep playing, and we have the chance, to play another game, and now we just gotta take care of business, like we always been doing, and just try our best.
If you guys stay shorthanded like this, because we don't know how long the suspensions of those 5 players is gonna last, can you get by with a short bench like you have now?
I think we all were the whole season with with training coach to get back in shape. I think we were a little tired today, but we got back in the second half, and we get it together, and we just need to get back in shape again. We've been a little sloppy, but I think we played really well.
Okay, Michael Carrera, who is finishing out a standout career at South Carolina. He'll go down as one of the all-time greats, I think, at South Carolina. 1,000-point scorer, and really turned up his game this year because he was healthy and played without fear and with reckless abandon in there. Just too bad he couldn't play last week against Georgia. That game might have turned out differently. All right, SC Wild coming up after the break.
It's time to get wild with SC Wild. Everything hunting and fishing. From the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources and your host, Phil Kornblut. SC Wild on Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network.
And we're back, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network here on this Wednesday night. It is time for another edition of SC Wild here on Sports Talk, presented by the National Wild Turkey Federation. You can help make the world a better place through conservation of North America's greatest game bird and the preservation of our hunting heritage by joining the NWTF. To find out more, go to nwtf.org/riseandfly. And we welcome in Captain Billy Downer, one heck of a turkey himself. Yeah, that was just
what a timely message. Yeah.
That was just that was just set up perfectly for me there.
Of course.
How are you? Good to see you again.
Good to be here.
And we are moving heavily into turkey season here in South Carolina.
Yes, we are. Had Youth Day this past weekend. Mm-hmm. Turkey season opens up this Sunday, the 20th.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so, what does this mean to everybody?
Well, for a very specific group of people who are challenged by a bird that it more times than not outsmarts them in the field. It's a very exciting time of year.
The turkey outsmarts?
Absolutely.
How so?
Well, first of all, turkeys are one of those game animals that can see in color. So they can see color.
How do we know this?
That's a good question.
Anybody ever ask a turkey?
I believe they've
interviewed a
actually,
turkey.
If the rods and cones, come on, Phil. The rods and cones, we can do that, all those things.
Okay.
But they can see color.
Okay.
They can hear tremendously well. Mm-hmm. And it's often been said if they could smell at all, you'd never kill one.
They have no smell.
No bird can smell.
Is that why?
No bird can smell.
Here's a piece of trivia for you, Corn.
All right.
The bald eagle is our national.
Don't tell me.
The wild turkey. Ben Franklin wanted it to be the turkey.
Well, that's a good point. That is often.
I thought you were going to tell me that the wild eagle was part of the turkey family.
Now, am I going to be dispelled right now by Captain Downer? He's like, I'm glad you brought that up, Kevin. You're wrong.
No, I'm not going to tell you wrong. Actually, that's been often talked about, but actually it's a little bit of a misquote. Ben Franklin did have some thoughts and feelings about the eagle being the national symbol.
Mm-hmm.
He thought that, in fact, if you look at the quote, he said something about how do you give honor to something that could sit on a limb and wait for something else to kill something, then take it from him. I mean, that was calling me. Yeah. But he did say this. He said, this is what he actually said. He said, he actually, in a letter to his daughter, after they had chosen the eagle, he said he thought the turkey was a much more respectable bird. And withal a true original native of America, he is, besides, though a little vain and silly, a bird of courage, and would not hesitate to attack a grenadier of the British Guards who should presume to invade his farmyard with a red coat on, end quote.
Wow.
So he thought that the turkey was a very respected animal.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been in a farmyard with a turkey? Anybody?
Can't say I have.
They are mean.
They are mean.
They are very mean.
Yeah.
Now, what is the difference in a wild turkey and the butterball I have on Thanksgiving?
Well, the butterball you have on Thanksgiving is raised in a house, doesn't move much, is made to have a big plump breast, all those things fill up.
Mm-hmm.
Eat, it's giving food and all that to get the full, so you have this nice big butterball turkey.
Yeah.
A wild turkey is a darker meat. They're a wild bird, of course. They've lived in the wild for hundreds of years, and they are native to South Carolina, been native up and down the East Coast. But the meat's darker because they are walking a lot more, flying. Again, turkeys either run or fly when scared, and most of the time they'll take off and fly if they have to. So any bird that flies a lot, their meat's going to be tougher, a lot more lean. But you can fry a wild turkey, and it's a delicious bird.
Do you you prefer to deep fry them, or how do you prefer to cook them?
Most often, that's the best way is deep fried.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Nothing like deep fried turkey. I'll give you that. Deep fried turkey, if it's done right.
Juicy, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can inject that with a Cajun injectable marinade, just great, good meat.
Yeah. Of course, I always hear about, you got to be careful when you deep frying anything outside in those cookers.
So it's not frozen when you put it in there.
Takes off like a missile.
Water and grease does not mix.
Yeah. All right, we have the captain here with us. If you have a comment about wild turkey season here in South Carolina, talking about the kind you shoot, not the kind you drink, 800-956-7266.
He's been making that joke all night.
I'm sure just the second time.
Old.
Just
the second time on the air. You made
Yeah.
about 15 times here off the air.
800-956-7266. Want to hear from some of you turkey hunters out there. Where are you finding the turkeys, and how excited are you about the return of turkey season here in South Carolina? So besides your good looks when you're out hunting turkey, Captain, how else do you attract a turkey
That's a good question.
to your
Phil.
sights?
And I brought a special treat for you tonight. We're going to do a little demonstration. If you
Okay,
will.
okay.
I'm not going to say it's the best because I am certainly not the best. But
Well, I've heard some of the world's best at the
well, then prepare to be
you know,
disappointed.
over at the
Classic.
festival, the
Yes.
classic. Yeah,
Yes.
they have some of the
Sportsman's
best.
Classic.
Yeah,
Sportsman Classic
I've heard-
this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah, and I've
Absolutely.
heard some of the great ones who make their own.
Sure. This is a homemade
Um,
call. This is a handmade call here, actually, homemade. But basically, there are different types of calls. But when you're hunting a turkey, you are mimicking the hen. You're trying to get the male to come to you,
Right.
which is interesting because typically the gobblers will gobble in the field, and the hens come to them.
Right.
So when you're sitting there calling and they're gobbling, a lot of times they'll sit there. They're waiting on you to come to them. Well, when you don't, that can aggravate them. That's when they start coming in. But we're going to do a little quick gobble here. We'll see if we got it queued up right. I'm going to do a quick call, which would typical call for turkeys. Just at your. And there it is.
It answered.
There's
Wow.
one in here.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Let's try that
There's
again.
a couple in here every night.
Let's try that again. We'll do a little putt.
Yeah,
this
it's true.
time.
Uh-huh. Oh.
And there it is again.
And that's
how
the
much
response.
practice does it take to do? Could Corn just grab that and make
Here.
that? sound?
Corn.
Let's see.
Corn, try
Corn,
that.
you
This-
try
this
to
will
do
be
that.
fun.
Let's
All right,
see.
you
This-
take this.
Now,
and you're
this
going-
is an
you're gonna take
official
the
South
striker.
Carolina Department of Natural Resources Sources
boy.
turkey call,
Can't
right?
even
Yeah,
say
that was made with a badge in it. Yes, pretty neat little call.
Yeah, that is neat. That is neat.
You take it on the rough surface there. You're going to take
Uh-huh.
it and you're going to drag it back to you backwards now.
Back to. Oops.
Oh, okay.
Okay, hang on a
All
second.
Sounds like nails
Drag it
on a chalkboard.
back to
The,
me.
the turkey's not answering.
You got to go like this.
Did I break it?
No, you can't. You got to do it hard.
You got to do it hard. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Yeah, kind of like nails on the backboard.
That's right.
Hey.
All right, here we go. You ready?
Hey.
Hey.
I can attract a turkey anywhere. Let's see.
Well, you do a little.
Wow. Sounds
Sound
like,
a chalkboard.
You know,
at
there's
least.
more skill to this than you would expect.
Yes.
yes. All right.
Now he's trying to break it. Yeah, now he's trying to break it.
Ah! I don't like it when things don't work. Okay, here we go.
That is a sick turkey. If you hear that, that's trouble.
Hey,
that sounds more like a
I'd
dog
call
bark.
you,
But it might
Captain
work.
Downer, and say, I've got a really sick turkey out here. I
Well,
think
you know,
you
it's
guys need
just
to
a
come check it
simple-
out.
Let's hear the
It's just-
professional again. Yeah. Let K-Mac do
No,
it.
I-
Come on, K-Mac. Put your mouth where the turkey call is. I get it.
He's
Yes.
making he's just making a point in there.
We get it. All right. So,
It's funny. I've just asked if there are any turkey hunters out there on our Twitter feed, and Steve Tannehill, former Gamecock
oh yeah,
quarterback,
yeah.
he said, "Why you ask? Haha! Opening day is Sunday."
Yeah, you know he'll be out there,
There
in
you
the
go.
lead group. So, what are the rules moving forward?
Well, let's talk a little bit. What do you need to hunt turkeys legally? You're going to need to have a hunting license. Absolutely. What people forget a lot of times is you need to have a big game permit. You say big game. Well, what does that do with a turkey? Well, in South Carolina, we have 3 big game animals: the white-tailed deer, the black bear,
Yeah, I give you that one.
and the third one is the wild turkey. They're actually considered a big game. So you have to have a big game permit. Now, if you get a regular combination license, it's going to have the big game permit with it. But sometimes people will hunt and don't think about the big game permit. So you have to have a big game permit. And the other thing about turkeys that you've had for years, you have to have tags. And tags are free in South Carolina, but you have to apply for them. Now, usually when you do your license, most time everybody goes to a licensed vendor, a licensed agent, and they get an electronic license. You got to remember to ask for that to be check for turkey tags. So when it comes this time of year, the tags get mailed to you. After the break, we'll talk about how to get them to you. If you haven't got your tags, where you can get them.
All right, sounds good. 800-956-7266. The number, it is SC Wild. We're talking turkey here with Captain Billy Downer. Back in a moment. All right, back we are. SC Wild portion of Sports Talk on this Wednesday night. We're brought to you by the National Wild Turkey Federation. You can help make the world a better place through conservation of North America's greatest game bird and the preservation of our hunting heritage by joining the NWTF. Find out how at nwtf.org/rise-and-fly. Captain Billy Downer with us. Let's hit the phones here for him, talking wild turkey hunting season in South Carolina, which begins on Sunday morning. What time?
It would be 30 minutes before sunrise. I mean, it's 30 minutes, excuse me. I think I always get slipped up thinking about duck season and turkey season, but it is beginning actually, and the 30 minutes before official sunrise.
Before official sunrise.
I was right.
Okay.
Check myself.
Let's go to Tim. Tim in Union. Welcome into SC Wild with Captain Billy Downer.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. I had an incident. I carried my grandson hunting youth day last Saturday, and I was telling him that to look for the beard, you know, and I had 3 hens come up, and one of them did have a beard, which I've seen it before, but
sure,
he was getting mad at me because I wouldn't let him shoot it.
And that's correct. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but you're correct. You were right to teach him that, because a bearded bird, it has to be a bearded gobbler, not just a bearded bird. There are some genetic variations that have the hens that have beards.
I didn't realize that.
But they don't look the same, and I'm sure you could tell that as well when you were looking at them in the field.
Yes.
It's usually a stringy little beard. It's not much to it, and the hen has a totally different look. Didn't have all the color that a gobbler has.
Right.
And you can't shoot a hen.
And you cannot shoot a hen. Right.
And because you can't shoot a hen because
it will produce.
They make babies.
That's right. They're the ones
I
that
just asked
lay
the question.
eggs.
I'm trying to learn here, folks. I'm
They're
trying
the
to
ones
learn.
that there are some states.
So if we
very
took out
few.
all the
Corn's
hens,
still learning a lot of things.
if we took out all the
he doesn't know
hens,
where babies come
we'd
from.
eliminate.
Well, it's gobblers only. It's gobblers only. Correct. That's a good point. A good thing to mention, because going through this, a lot of times people forget. And I've actually, as an officer, encountered people who have shot something they thought it was a gobbler. Never shot a turkey before, and they shoot and look at me on that's a bearded.
So you're telling me
a bearded hen.
You're telling me
bearded hen.
And what does that cost you?
Female turkeys can have beards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what
Just
we're
like
just like
you know.
Yeah.
Some of your old girlfriends.
Some women can have
Hey-o.
beard.
Wasn't gonna go there. Wasn't gonna go there.
Like right there. I mean, that was
mustache. Same thing.
Wasn't gonna go there. All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the call, though.
At least we hope it's light colored beards, right? Not the real heavy, thick stuff on the female.
You talking about your girlfriends or the turkey?
Talking the
Which
same
one?
thing.
Okay.
Talking the same thing here.
And it's usually dark on a turkey. Yeah.
What else you got for us,
All right,
Captain?
we were talking about tags earlier, and a lot of folks this week preparing for turkey season, they're scrambling around. Oh my gosh, I forgot about my tags.
Explain the tag deal.
All right, the tags are something you apply for, just like your license. They're free. You have to go to a DNR office to get them. You can't just go to the local hardware store to get tags. You can order them online, or you can go to a DNR office. So at this point in the game, you can go online, and they're usually printed and mailed the next day. But at this point, whereas we're only a couple of days out, I always tell folks, go to a DNR office. You can go to any of our regional offices, Clemson, Florence, Columbia, to get those tags.
And what happens with the
Charleston.
tags? Explain how.
All right,
the
you get the tags
are
on a piece
used.
of paper. They're going to have a sheet, and they're tear off, and they've got sticky on the back.
Yeah.
And they have your name on them, your number, license number. And if you are successful in taking a turkey, you must tag the bird at the point of where it was taken, and before you remove it from the ground, tag it. And then on the way back to the truck, if you encounter an officer, they'll see the tag on the bird. They'll know it's legally taken. It's part of the law to protect the birds, to protect the limits. And talking about the limits this year, you know, people often ask, well, this year's season starts March 20th and goes through May the 5th. This is the first year that the seasons has changed in quite some time. So across the state, the season's exactly the same, which is really, it's neat, it's easy. And also our limits changed because of a recent decline in turkey numbers. The legislature last year passed a law and was able to, which is a great thing, to reduce the limit some for a short time to see how turkeys will react to that, to population. But the limit used to be 5. It's now 3.
Okay.
Just 3 gobblers. Again, You know, how many people, you asked me, is how big is turkey hunting versus deer hunting? You know, 155,000 people deer hunt. Well, 45,000 hunters take to the woods each year for turkeys.
Let me ask you this. So a ranger comes up upon you and you've got a turkey with no tag on it.
That's not good.
Yeah. What's the penalty?
It's a penalty. It's going to be a monetary fine.
Yeah.
$175 and up.
So make sure you
Except for
tag 'em.
unicorn, they will throw you in prison.
Is that what they'll do?
Lock you up.
Throw me in the pen with a bunch of wild turkeys.
Well, you know,
that'd be fun.
Hens. Throw me in with the hens.
But the fines are there to teach lesson to protect the population.
Yeah. All right. We'll be right back. Wrap things up with Captain Downer in a moment. Final minutes of DNR SC Wild tonight. Let me update a couple of things. Baseball, Clemson and the Citadel. Captain
Absolutely.
Downer.
Here we go.
2-2. USC leads Davidson 3-0. That's in the third. That Clemson game's in the sixth. So the Bulldogs are battling back as they tend to do because they are the Citadel Bulldogs. Last line of defense in our state, by the way, the Citadel.
Monty Lee said he wanted to go to the Citadel, and they didn't want him, so he went to the College of Charleston.
Really? By the way, Sports Talk and SC Wild, presented by South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan. Future Scholar is the smart way to save for a loved one's education. Tax time is a perfect time to invest. Visit FutureScholar.com. Future Scholar is administered by the Office of State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. All right, sir. Captain Downer, as we head into wild turkey season, what are some of the other rules for hunters to remember?
Well, let's wrap up a couple things real quick. We know the statewide limit's 3 birds this year. It's 3 gobblers only, no more than 2 per day. We already talked about bearded hens are not legal. All hunters, including hunters younger than 16, which is license age, and those are calling or guiding, must possess a valid set of turkey tags. This question always comes up. If I kill my 3 birds and I want to go take Bill hunting, can I still do that? And hunters who have used all their tags may call or guide for other hunters as long as they possess the tag form. In other words, the empty form, bring that with you to show you had your tags that you tagged out.
Gotcha.
And that's legal. Again, remember, all turkeys must be tagged before they moved. Legal weapons, shotguns. We didn't even talk about that. What do you shoot turkeys with? Well, shotgun in South Carolina is typical. You use shotguns, muzzleloading shotguns, bows, and crossbows. You really want to challenge yourself, take a bow out there and try to take a turkey.
Yeah.
Again, turkeys can see tremendously well. It's like binocular vision from 75 yards off, 100 yards off across the field. They can see color.
How about
all those
taking a
things.
knife? Can you just like
Good luck with that.
Musket.
Good luck with that. But again, all of the weapons or methods are prohibited. So rifles, pistols, illegal, and you cannot use buckshot. That's always been against the law.
Yeah,
rules.
that's not fair to use buckshot.
No. It's unlawful to shoot a
I
turkey.
mean, you don't have
between-
to even like aim at the bird and hit it with buckshot.
Well, yeah,
I
it's
mean,
just it's
you can
it's
miss
too
it
big,
by
too big a
couple-
pellet.
Yeah.
One minute.
Hand me your caller there real quick. Let me give it one more shot before.
Now, where do you
try
aim
that.
when you're shooting the turkey?
At the head,
Yeah.
base of the neck. But remember, shooting time, legal time is 30 minutes after official sunset and 30 minutes before official sunrise. So you can't, you have to wait 30 minutes before official sunrise to
Terrible.
start, and it ends at 30 minutes after official sunset.
I think I
Sounds
would
like
starve.
a frog.
Are you scratching that car? I mean, you're trying.
Wait a minute. You know what? I think I'm holding it too
There you
high.
go.
Oh,
Sound like a turkey screaming to me.
Yeah.
Give me that. Give me that. back.
let's give us one.
Let's
final
leave them with
good call.
something
Yeah,
good to think
yeah.
about.
That's beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah.
It's music to my ears. It's beautiful stuff. Captain Downer, we thank you.
Enjoy it. Be
Appreciate
safe
you
out
being
there.
here.
Make sure you identify your target before you shoot.
See you in a couple of weeks. Thank you, K-Mac. Thank you, Larkin. Thank you, Pro, who's not here. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.